present a factual chronological overview of government's engagement with the WICSU, PSU, and the Fire Department from the start of our negotiations, the correspondence exchange, the actions taken, and measures now being implemented. These facts will show that government remains, of course, commitment to solve the issues by the Fire Department. I'm fully aware that members of the Fire Department have waited far too long for lasting resolutions to their concerns that they have had for many, many, many years. It's not something of today that is going on. This is going on already for many years, and I can imagine the disappointment, the irritation, the momentum of disagreement, the lack of hope for a resolution. I understand it completely, especially when I observe the time span that this problematic is alive in our country. Once more, I reiterate that it's something that I have inherited last year. I understand the frustration and uncertainty that this caused, but it is precisely because of that reality that we must now move forward, constructively, collaboratively, and with lasting solution. Mr. Chairman, allow me to turn to the presentation that outlines in details the government's actions, commitments, and next step in addressing these important matters. The next slide. The next one, please. First of all, we can see here all that has been transpired in 2021, and then followed in 2023 some actions, and of course in 2025. I will start with reading out those actions of 2021 for us to especially understand what was going on. Government and the Union, it is important to place these developments in their proper context. The matters raised by the Fire Department and the WICSU PSU did not arise in isolation. They are the result of a process that has been ongoing for several years, as I said just now. The function book of the Fire Department, which lies at the center of many today's discussions, has gone through a long and deliberate process of development involving evaluations, legal reviews, and extensive consultation across departments and advisory bodies. In 2021, as you can see on the left side, the upper quarter of that screen, work on the Fire Department function book formally began. So it started already in 2021. This effort was led by an external expert working together with the management of the Fire Department and supported by the Department of Personnel and Organization. Because of long-standing tensions between P&O and the Fire Department, this structure allowed the process to move forward independently and objectively. The progress was slow, but however, there were movements. The external consultant often faced long delays in receiving feedback, and at that same time, P&O was severely understaffed and occupied with several organization-wide projects under the country packages. Despite all these challenges, the work continued. By 2023, the next one in the quarter part of the screen left under, the function book for the Fire Department was completed. Around the same time, research conducted in 2016 and again in 2021 and 2022 showed that the ICT department also required revision and expansion to support a modern digital government. P&O therefore developed a new ICT function book and added it to the one for the fire department so that two departments of the Ministry of General Affairs could be updated together. In March 2023, the combined function book was submitted to CCSU for advice. On May the 1st, 2023, the CCSU formally advised implementation. The function book was then sent to the Council of Advice, whose review took longer than expected due to questions about financial implications. In 2024, the Council of Advice issued its opinion in April, and the Nader report was finalized by P&O and the Department of Legal Affairs in September 2024. The report was submitted to the Minister of General Affairs, who received later that year a request from the WICSU and PSU to delay implementation so the function book could be reviewed. This request was agreed upon. I can recall that still, because of the function book, we decided, okay, there was some worries about the function book. We agreed upon to delay the process. After review, the decision was made to move forward with the function book, considering the time needed to properly discuss and incorporate, where possible, the concerns of fire department. In fact, is that also it had implication for the ICT department. After its ratification, discussions with WICSU and PSU continued. The function book was ratified by the governor on February the 4th, 2025, and came into effect on March the 25th, 2025. This timeline shows that the function book was not an isolated decision, but the outcome of a structured, multi-year process carried out in compliance with all the procedural and legal requirements. It is on this foundation that government's subsequent actions and today's discussion must be understood. The context of correspondence, Mr. Chairman, at the first negotiation meeting on September the 26th, the negotiation team representing the staff of the fire department introduced 3 points that they requested a commitment on from government in order to stop, as I said, the go-slow action. These points were: 1, retroactive pay; secondly, recognition of career lines and promotions; 3, an immediate revisiting of the function book. These matters were not part of the original draft covenant, but were nevertheless reviewed and addressed in writing. These mark the beginning of a string of detailed correspondence outlining the clear intention of government to WICSU PSU.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now. SXM, yeah.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, Com programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
St. Martin, as heavy rain falls across our region, we urge all residents and visitors to exercise caution and stay alert. Here are the areas prone to street flooding, flash floods, and/or rock slides. Avoid these locations until water levels subside. Atillage Road Roundabout, Cul-de-Sac. Arch Road, Sucker Garden. Beacon Hill Road, Simpson Bay. Atillage Road, Border Monument, Belvedere, Lower Princess Quarter. Billy Folly Road, Cole Bay. Emma Plain, Phillipsburg. L.B. Scott Road, Cul-de-Sac. Rhine Road, Lowlands. Welhelican Road, Low K Roundabout, Cahill, Little Bay. Well Road, Wellington Road, and Orange Grove Road, Cole Bay. Yancho Rousquin Boulevard, Point Blanche, and Saker's Gut Road, Cul-de-Sac. Remember, safety comes first. Let's work together to keep our community safe. This public service announcement is brought to you by the Department of Communication.
In this next slide, the workers represented by the CCSU had a request for moving forward in this trying to solve the go slow action. The first one was, of course, the retroactive payment as of 2010. The second was the placement process, the carrière lane, and the third one was the function book. Important by the function book is to realize that if we read what is said by the function book, it stands also under in red that request response within 1 week to respond with a commitment letter regarding these 3 points. So the WICSU CCSU is asking government to give a reaction on these 3 points. And further, they are stating within a timeline of less than a month, point 1 and 2 are to be executed within a set timeline of less than 1 month, as of September the 26th, including the revisiting function book that has to commence in 1 month time. Because I received this document without any signature under it, the one on the left side, I requested in a letter on the right side that I acknowledge receipt, but if the union could sign the document for me to make sure that it is coming from the union. Next slide, please. And we see here, fantastic, the union reacts and Mrs. Kanahita signs the document, so it's a done deal. It's correctly that these 3 points are being asked. My attention as government to look into the retroactive payment, the placement, and
one moment, Prime Minister.
Yes.
If I can ask you just to speak more into the mic
Of
so
course.
that the public can
course.
also hear you a
Of
little
course.
better. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. We're going now to the next slide. In this next slide, after receiving the demands from the union, I'm writing a letter on October the 3rd, and I hope all members have received this letter, in which there is an acute demand to revisit the function book, in which you can see it as point number 3. The government agrees to initiate a revisit of the current function book. the Department of Personnel and Organization will be instructed to commence the process and provide advice on the necessary steps forward. Okay. What I'm saying further is you have to realize if you want an acute revisiting of the function book, that means that we will have to wait on that process to have again a ratified function book so I can proceed with retroactive payment and also with the placement process. That is also what I'm stating in the letter of October the 3rd. Retroactive, this matter will remain under consideration and will be finalized once the revised function book process has been completed. Secondly, I stay for the placement the same. We can start with the revisiting, but if we don't have an established function book, we're going to get an enormous delay in the process of retroactive payment and the placement process. Each point of the proposal was addressed and agreed upon. I'm okay with retroactive process to get things straight back. Secondly, I am in agreement for the placement process, and I am in agreement for the function book, but realize if I start with the function book, we're going to get a delay. Okay. And in this letter, I always tell CCU, loose from this, let's give a continuation on the negotiation on the draft covenant awaiting this process. Next slide, please. In a letter, yes, okay, thank you. Due to the technical issues with revisiting of the function book, the CCSU, the WICSU, sorry, sent me a letter on October the 9th. In blue stands, due to a technical issue on the side of the union, the letter was received electrically on October the 18th. That's true. The union sent me this letter, if I'm not mistaken, the 9th of October, but the union realized that there was a glitch in the system, and the day that I received this letter was not the 9th as the letter was dated on. The president apologized, and she resent it, and I received it on the 19th. When I told and informed the WICSU that there should be some delay in the process, we get as response in this letter that, okay, and that is the case, we agree to stay with the function book that has been ratified in February and activated on March 2025. So never mind that immediate revision, because that is going to bring delay. Let's go and let's do what we have to do with the acknowledged, ratified function book of March 2025. And according to the union, there is only some functions in the function book that need some attention. So we agreed now that we're not going to start revisiting immediately, but we're going to go back to the same function book. We are going to, because that was also an agreement, that once that function book was agreed upon, we would, in coming 3 years, revisit the function book. Okay, next slide. In a letter on the 24th of October, I am once more writing the following to the union. First of all, I'm telling them, despite concerns, I agree and I again reaffirm, that is the second column, I again reaffirm the government's commitment to constructive dialogue and advancing the process in this matter. First of all, I'm speaking about 4 points in my article, in my letter of the 24th. I'm revisiting and I agree with the retroactive payment. Secondly, I agree with the placement process. And even I said with the placement process that it's a process in which for you to start with the placement process, you need to have a landsbesluit to activate a placement committee and also a objection committee. That is normal. Once you decide that you're going to replace persons, they can agree, but they can disagree too, and correctly disagree sometimes. So you will have to have a committee in place to actually make sure that once there is an objection, that in a correct, transparent way, there is an objection committee. Once between commitment and placement and objection, a person is placed and all parties agree, the next step is that you have to have a claim process at place, and that claim process is then for the worker then to actually submit his thoughts why he or she has to be retroactively correctly compensated. It's not that we are testing the fairness, no. We are just giving the opportunity under guidance from P&O for those that must get a retroactive payment, for them to apply in a claim process that then goes through P&O to make sure that the placement is correct and that the retroactive calculation is correct, that the fireman gets the correct compensation at the moment that this process has been fulfilled.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com. SXM Daily News.
Also, the function book that we are going to use, the function book that was activated in March 2025, we're going to use that function book with the condition with the revisiting in the coming 3 years. Next slide. This is an overview again of the exchange of correspondence. We go for the next one. The next slide, please. In this letter, oh, that is nice. In this letter, that is a letter from the CCSU of November the 3rd. The initial cause of the go-slow, which began on April the 14th, 2025, that is the letter of CCSU directed to me, to government, concerns the retroactive placement and the pay of members of the fire department. This is the letter of WICSU to government. To date, this letter stated the 3rd of November, after giving you guys some explanation on the letter that I drafted on the 24th of October, this letter states, to date, this issue has not been resolved. The members of the ambulance department now stand in full solidarity with the fire department colleagues, as they too face similar challenges requiring the scrutiny of their ministry. This is the letter of the CCSU, from the WICSU. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. In a letter on November the 5th, that probably was sent on the 6th, but this is the letter of November the 5th. Once more, I reiterate the commitment of government to actually make sure to realize the placement process, the retroactive payment, and go along with the career line and using the function book 2025 March with the condition of revisiting in the coming 4 years this function book. Further, in this letter, I state the following. Where is the letter? That is the letter of the WICSU, and then the answer on it is, in view of this above, this is the letter of November the 5th. In view of the above and the demonstrable continued commitment of government to address the needs for the fire department, there is no need for the continuation of the go slow, because I'm busy with the retroactive process that has to be actually has to wait on the placement process before you can actually pay persons retroactively. And that's, I state also that there is a commitment from government to move forward with the proposals as I have described in this letter of November the 5th. It's a commitment to the firework departments. That is what I state here, that in this letter, the word commitment again is mentioned, that we are going to move forward with the commitment to finalize the 3 topics that has been demanded by the WICSU. Government once again clearly outlines its commitment. I once more ask the WICSU to try to stop this go slow, and I once more stimulate the process for us to move forward with the negotiations for the covenant. Next slide, please. There is a letter now that I received on the 10th of November. The last one, mine, was the 5th, and WICSU sends me a letter on November the 10th. And what they're asking me now is to have a mediator as an additional point in the process to solve the problem. In this letter, the mediator has been asked. There is a confusion that took place, I realized, between the fact that when we started the negotiations for the covenant, there was a request from the fire department to exclude some civil servants that were working by the P&O department or AZ department. And the government has agreed not to involve these civil servants in the negotiation team once the covenant negotiation was taking place. There's one. Secondly, on request of the And that was for the negotiation of the covenant. Secondly, there is a wish from the fire department for a mediator that is loose from the covenant negotiation team, that perhaps can be used also later as a mediator for the negotiation for the covenant. I have no problem with that. The next slide, please. The next slide is a letter from me on the 12th, in which once more again I reconfirm the placement process, the promotion and career advancement, retroactive payment, and revisiting the function book.